Well, speaking of water,
Yeah.
you had an event producer named Andy King who did an interview for the Netflix documentary.
You should have at least applied us at Evian for the for the interview today.
Who was openly gay.
Yeah.
And I guess one of the government officials on the island wouldn't release the water unless he got paid, was it $100,000 or $1 million or something?
Something like that. It didn't make, I think the fee was more than the water cost or something, like whatever it was at the time was just not adding up.
So was the official gay as well?
It was unclear. It was definitely unclear.
He was kind of zesty, is that what you're saying?
I think I learned about this in jail a couple of years later. This prison guard came up to me and he goes, "Yo, McFarland, did you pay some like government official or did you pay some guy to suck some government official's dick for water?" I'm like looking at him like he's crazy. He's like, "You could tell me." I'm like, wait a second. Like that's how I learned about this whole story. So I'm like trying to get entrapped by some prison guard. I think the story was Andy King went and basically said, "Hey, I'm willing to blow this guy to release the water." He didn't actually blow the guy, but the water got released. So
well, I mean, according to the documentary,
yeah.
You called him and say, "Listen, you got to take one for the team. And you got to blow this guy for some water," and he agreed to do it.
I think the story is a game of telephone. I think I called someone. I talked to Andy about it, the past year. I think I called someone who called someone who like called Andy. He's like, "Billy said you got to go suck this guy's dick." It was a game of telephone. But the best part of it, Andy didn't question it. He goes, "Okay." He's like, "What time do I have to be
Where's
there?
the dick at? All right, I'm ready.
What time do I have to do it?"
So you're saying you didn't tell him to actually give
No,
the
I didn't
guy
tell him
a
to go and do it, but I think the word was changed 4 times, and it became that word to him. And God bless Andy, man. He just said, "Okay, what time do I have to go?"
Oh yeah, listen, I don't think this guy has employment problems after this because he's clearly willing to go above and beyond his job.
I mean, if one of your team members want to do that, then that's...
Yeah, no, you got to keep him on staff.
It's hard to find these days.
I mean, so you and Andy actually spoke later on?
We spoke recently, yeah.
And how did that conversation go?
It's good. I think I think the hardest part for Andy and watching Andy is like people who don't really research into it think Andy was part of this scam, right? And the actual festival itself wasn't the scam. The scam was me lying to investors, and Andy had absolutely no interaction or, he wasn't involved in the fundraising. He was there trying to make the festival actually work.
Yeah.
And he busted his ass, and the festival failed not because of him, but to see him being labeled as a scammer, I think that hurts the most. And that's probably he's a victim, right? Because he's being labeled as a scammer for something he didn't actually scam. So that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the documentary again this morning. I watched it initially when it came out, but he basically was trying to say, look, I understand there's a lot of problems, but there's a lot of problems when Woodstock originally happened in the 60s or 70s where, the cars were all jammed up and people couldn't get in and a lot of people died from drug overdoses and it was all muddy and messed up. But no one ever talks about that because Woodstock is still an iconic event that they redid later on and people still talk about it today. So I'm just going to try to make it happen and hopefully it'll be another Woodstock, but it wasn't. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, he definitely was trying. It seems, based on
he wasn't even I forget what his deal was. He wasn't even getting paid that much money. It wasn't like he was doing it because there was this huge paycheck for him. He legitimately believed in it, as did 800 other people, right? Some were in it for the money, obviously, but some truly believed. And I think the one thing that is misreported too is for all the wrongs and all the lies I told, which wouldn't have mattered in this case, we were closer than reported, right? Yes, the tents were imperfect, but there were still brand new beds, there were still carpets, they were still livable, right? No, the houses weren't perfect, but they still would have been okay had we figured it out. It just too many things went wrong too quickly, and I didn't have the management experience to handle that storm when it came.